I mean, we gave away over 100,000 at our meetup last year, just giving out to people with, JV deals, our group flip that we did and furls and all that.
Yay, we're live. Thank you guys for joining us on this Purpose Driven Investment podcast. Today I have two special guests to join me, and they are my dear friend who run a mean team locally in Maryland. Brandon and Andy, how are you guys doing?
Doing excellent.
And I know you guys has been doing off-market deal wholesaling creatively, all sorts of real estate opportunity in Maryland. So I want you to come up and share your tax experience, your success story, and just get to know you guys more. Before we get started, could I have maybe each one of you kind of introduce yourself? How did you find each other?
So we met in Subto, which is, for people who don't know Subto, which is, I feel like, very rare nowadays. It's a national investor group. We do a lot of creative stuff. And essentially, we met way back in like 2021, 2022 ish, I believe, maybe 2022.
Yep.
But it was at the time when there was like maybe 1,500, 2,000 people in Sub 2. And that was compared to what it is now. It's crazy. He slid into my DMs and was like, I live in the same small town as you. We're in this nationwide investor group. We need to get lunch together. And long story short, we ended up getting lunch. It went well, kind of JV'd on a couple flips together, and both those went really well. And me and him mesh very well. We have a good yin and yang in the business. And we went full blown into starting the LLC, and we have like our own holding company. I mean, you name it, me and him have it together. We invest in other businesses together, and it's been great. I mean, from my standpoint anyways.
It's one of the things they encourage when you're in a national group such as this. Get out and meet people. There's nothing more powerful. We've done hundreds of meetings since then, but it just so happened that the very first meeting, the intent wasn't to find a business partner, but that's what was bred from our initial conversations.
I think a lot of people, especially when they first started, right, they go out, have a whole bunch of lunch, they have go out and then shake a lot of hands. But it's really important to find the person you kind of click with, right, to do business together. And I think trust is also very important. What maybe certain action or certain word that he said, they just kind of pick out in your mind, like, you know what, this is the right person I need to maybe spend more time with to kind of get to know him more.
First, you have to click from a personality standpoint. You have to ensure that it's somebody that you're going to be comfortable with. You could be spending more time with this person than your own family as your business grows. So there has to be a personality mesh there that's very important to start. But I'll say from a business standpoint, Brandon and I both were entrepreneurs already, so we had experience, and I had picked business partners in the past. I had gotten an exit from another company. Not only did we need to mesh personality wise, but it was important that our skill set offset one another. Brandon had started his journey as an agent, whereas I had started more on the fix and flip side. He was starting to build a portfolio. I was starting to do wholesaling. And so we did a lot of different things when we first met, but I think we had a goal of kind of meeting in the middle and building a wholesale and flip operation. And then as that would grow, we wanted to add multifamily asset class to our portfolio. So it was like, not only did we match on personality, and not only is Brandon kind of a really strong operator with an accounting background, I'm really into the sales and marketing side. There was a connection on many levels. So there's a lot to be aware of there.
One thing too that I feel like makes us very rare is that we both are actually visionaries, but I tested for the visionary and the integrator piece on the exam. So I'm actually both. So it's like, it's kind of good that me and him both can have like all these awesome ideas in our business, but then we can figure out ways to implement them too, because like, even though he's more visionary, he's a hell of an integrator as well. So like, we both have that awesome complement on both of our businesses. So like, if he was gone for a week and he needed me to take sales calls, I can step in and take sales calls. Like, we have other people on our team that can do that way better than what I can, but like, I can still do it. If he needed to do something in our books, he'd be able to do it. If he needed to send a wire to a title company, he would be able to do it. So like, just little stuff like that, like, we know how to work together. But going back to the very beginning on what really clicked for me was when we did our very first flip together, who is going to be a hard worker and get the shit done. He would show up to the flip and like we did everything there ourselves that we could, with our skill set. And just seeing him show up and just get stuff done. And, I know he saw that in me as well because I was working on an army base at the time and I'd have to
Mhm.
go after work and I'd work there in the evenings. And just seeing the back and forth of everything that we did was good.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that you guys can kind of trust each other enough that you can just slide into each other's shoe and just fit perfectly to kind of step in, which is a very rare quality. What I see a lot of entrepreneur, like they're usually pretty silo and kind of focus on their strengths or weaknesses. And there's one person taking more majority role on one side and the other person taking majority on the other side. There is really rare for me to see you guys like almost like identical but a little bit different. You have your strengths and weaknesses, but you also complement each other so well. So you're lucky. In terms of your current operation, right? I know you run a very small, when I say mean team, you're pretty smart on the marketing. What's your current team look like?
At about a year in for Brandon and I, we had worn all the hats together. Our business was growing. We had scaled from doing one flip at a time and maybe a wholesale deal every other month. Prepping for year two, we wanted to accelerate our growth. So instead of just hiring one salesperson, I think we brought in 3 or 4 at the same time. And we realized that you can't just multiply the sales team and expect the results to multiply along with it. So we do have a local meetup that means a lot to us, which we can touch on later if we have time. So we did try and help many people local, and that has its pros and cons. But what we landed on was a reset about a year ago where we shrunk the team back in, really focused on what we were good at, and set ourselves up for better scalability moving forward. So we've started to hire sales reps and added new salespeople to the team. But it really consists of Brandon and I taking on the brunt of the load, me on the marketing and sales side, him on the operational contracts, accounting side of the house. And then, we have some part-time VAs that help. And then we're slowly starting to add more people to the sales team again. So we're under 5 people, but we're doing it the right way this time. And it's actually, the results have been phenomenal. When we scaled back to just us, we were doing better again than we had with a team of 7 people. So sometimes you have to do some trials and errors with your team. It's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in business is to build a good team. I've had a team of over 80, so I know what it takes, but every business is unique and you're looking for different people to fill different roles. And so we're definitely taking personality tests and we're getting way more in depth with positional characteristics to ensure that we do it the right way as we're scaling up again. And another bit of exciting news, we're opening our first office space. I guess we can call it our corporate offices now. It's a multi-use building. Yeah. And so we've been kind of waiting for that building to open. It's been 6 months of construction. We got apartments above us and our office on the ground level, something that we're super stoked about. And so we didn't want to overstaff until we got into that building, but now that put some new principles in place and we've been hiring slowly, I think that our growth will, if you interview us again in a year, I could see our team quadrupling in the next year.
I love how you guys are very diligent about scaling to the speed that you're comfortable. So you're not too eager hiring and then firing them, super fast. I see a lot of people make the initial mistakes. Oh, I need to hire more sales so I can scale my sales side of the business. But not every salesperson are created equal. You sometimes only need one good one to offset 3 or 4 bad ones. What about you, Brenda? What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, I concur everything that he just said. One thing I will say is that we had some awesome salespeople like on our team, but like they were juggling other jobs and stuff like that. People moving out of state, and it's hard to keep everyone together and motivated and the same like goal driven intentions that we have. And whenever all that everyone like kind of went their own separate ways, we let some people go. We dialed back into it. It's just me and Andy. And at that time I was reading 10x is better than 2x. And to me, like that book like completely shifted like the way that I saw our business. And one morning I texted Andy on the way back, coming back from the gym. I was like, dude, we just need to like hone in on our counties and just get really good here in, Frederick County, Washington County, West Virginia Panhandle, Southern PA. Like we need to be just like right here in our area instead of trying to wholesale in Ohio, Florida, Carolinas, instead of like all over the place. Let's just hone in on where we're at and where we're good at to where we have multiple exit strategies. We can flip them if we want. If they're right here, we can flip them.
And you have your team locally you can rely on That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, once we did that, I feel like that was shortly after is whenever we really started booming. We started doing, multiple wholesale deals a month. We upped our fix and flips to, 4 to 6 a month. And that right there was just like a huge jump in our business. And at that time, it was just me and Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did this massive roller coaster to the top and it was just me and him.
Right.
So it was just like, you know what? Now we can slowly start training people the right way, bringing people on, leveraging AI in all these cool ways to the point now where like we feel more comfortable where we can expand our team the right way and get people the sales training that they want and have all the right resources like kind of already built out, to where they have like these SOPs of like how to do things, how to underwrite. Here's our calculator. So just little things like that really helped us.
Yeah. So coming as an Asian, this is a question for you, Brandon. I'm sure as an Asian, like, I'm also have an Asian license. The contract they use is so different than in country we use buying off market deal, investor type of contract. Was it a easy transition for you to kind of jump from that role as an Asian to more like an investor side of the mindset?
Yeah, so I really don't. It's a tough one. I think people should get their real estate license just so they understand the contracts. And I will continue to say that because you have
I
these
agree with you.
wholesalers. Yeah, I mean, they have these wholesalers that are like coming in and they don't really understand contracts. Like I studied contract law in college, been an agent. I understand those kind of contracts. And it's just different. Like people don't understand what's the word I'm looking for? The legalities that they're
Legality.
making these like that they're being like upheld to. There's no ethical responsibilities of like a wholesaler, but if you have your agent's license, like you gotta, really
Yeah,
cross your
everything.
T's and dot your I's.
Yeah, everything has to be up and out. You have to be disclosure. Proper disclosure is very important. That's a common mistake. Think people are trying to be sleazy about not saying certain thing or saying thing in a very confusing way. But when it's a really well drafted contract, there's no interpretation. It should be very easy to read, and all the terms are very clear for the seller. So who's taking the seller appointment nowadays? Are you guys both taking seller appointment?
No, that's definitely my side of the house, my side of the responsibility. And it's something that I'm just so genuinely passionate about. I want to emphasize that. I think that we could talk about sales strategy for days. Maybe we can go in more depth on another podcast, but I'll give you some stuff that's really important to me here today.
Yeah, maybe just a few like common rejection because I'm sure
Yeah.
you see a lot of these seller. The only reason that we were able to buy the house in the
Mhm.
steep discount that work for our criteria mostly it has to have some motivation, right? And
Sure.
distressed property.
Sure. Differentiating people that have true motivation and some distress is very important right out of the gate. But from there, and really the way that I look at it, it's almost irregardless. My job is to be a solution provider. And so I come value first, solution provider. And because even for leads that we will toss away, that aren't going to work, they're not in a situation, I'm still going to do my best to leave them with a good piece of advice. And I'm going to give them a resource or a piece of advice that they can take with them. What's great about what we do, and I think one of the keys that makes Cash to Close really unique, as because we're not just another wholesaler or fix and flipper, we bring more value than that. And so to kind of tie on to what I'm saying about offering value no matter what, we don't just make one offer. If it's a distressed seller, we're bringing typically 3 offers to the table every time. And so we craft proposals and we like to present them in person. If that's not possible, we can do it live on a chat or a video. And so the point there being is like, we want to give them options because sellers love options. And, I've been selling my whole life. If you don't have a differentiator that doesn't set you apart from what everybody else is doing, then it's just a numbers game. And I'm not going to compete to be the highest offer. That's not our business model. So our business model is to bring you 3 solutions and allow you to pick which one works best for your situation.
So maybe let's dive down to that 3 option a little bit because I think I can
Absolutely.
guess one of them will be the lowest, the cash offer, right? You want like no contingency, no questions that I'll buy as is, whereas that's the lowest cash offer. What are the other 2 offer
Sure.
after
Yeah.
sale?
You nailed that, Shinyi. And so it's always the first presentation is most convenient cash offer. Number 2 is we can offer to list the property for them. It can be condition specific. And then number 3, and we'll show them a market analysis. We'll say, as it sits, this is where we think about where your property would list at. So we give them just a generalized idea. We show comps. We can find similar comps to their condition. And then thirdly is a creative solution. Now, it could be Subto, it could be seller finance, it could be, most often it's a novation when we get to the third offer. And so everybody gets at least 2 offers, but most people get 3. And again, every situation is so unique, but we strive to give 3 options if we can. And novation, again, is the most popular of the creative options because oftentimes the distressed sellers that we work with don't own the property outright, which limits the creativity. And if they do have a mortgage and there's no equity, then we go the Subto route. But yeah, so just having that 3 option approach has really changed the game. This is psychology at the end of the day. So not only psychology that you're dealing with from the seller standpoint, but as a salesperson, it's your own psychology too. Like if you're not serving and you don't feel good about what you're bringing to the table, then they're going to read right through you. So I think it's just really imperative that you're solutions driven. You can be excited about the offers you're presenting because you're not boxing them into one option.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not really like hard selling them either because you set yourself already apart. Like, hey, I'm already coming in being very professional, and I give you tons of options that you can choose from that benefit you the most.
It's a great point.
Right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great.
We feel so good about our numbers that if it's not a good fit, if none of the 3 are a good fit, then we back off and we understand because we've at that point gone above and beyond with the multiple offer approach already.
Right. And I'm curious though, when you often like backed out, realize you're very upfront, hey, the number just wouldn't work. I wish you the best luck, and you backed out. How many of them actually came back and realizing you're the best offer? I want to hear that from Brendan.
Oh, for me? Oh,
Yes.
man. I mean, we just had one just 2 weeks ago that this lady took a wholesaler's offer and then he tried to do a novation, but didn't disclose that he was doing a novation. And all of a sudden she was getting agents showing up to her house, wanting to show her house. And she's like, what? What's going on? And she reached back out to Andy and he just told her like, this is what he's doing. And walked her through it. And to keep it brief, she ended up canceling that contract and signing with us. And we
Right.
are actual real buyers, not trying to do a shady novation. So
So let's talk about the shady novation deal, right? Because a lot of people are talking about novation on the market right now. I usually ask them like, what is novation? What is your definition of the novation? Everybody interpret it differently. So for that shady wholesaler that ended up got the contract canceled, what was he trying to do, and what did you present yourself differently and then won the bid, basically?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what his offer was. I think Andy knows the number, but he didn't disclose that he was putting it on the MLS. Like it was in his contract, but like he didn't expressly, tell her this is what we're going to be doing. It was just in the contract as a line.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there
It
was
was
like
buried in the contract. It was buried and it wasn't conveyed to them. Sorry, Brandon.
No,
It wasn't vocalized. It wasn't conveyed. And there's new laws in Maryland where have to tell our intent. And so it was very deceptive the way she was treated. And so she was very uncomfortable with it. And at that point, fortunately, when she came back to us and kind of told us we were able to give some legal support, and the other company at that point just realized that what they had done was wrong and stepped back and allowed to handle it with professionalism in class. But
I wouldn't say they handled it professionally. They definitely, threw some threats out. But it's funny because just yesterday I reached out to the real estate agent that they were using for the novation because like we bought it. We're almost done with the flip. We're about to be listing it. And I still see it as like temporarily off market by this agent. I'm like, so I reach out to him. I'm like, hey man, heads up. This is the whole entire situation that happened. And he wasn't aware of any of it. He thought he was the owner of the house. I was doing the novation. He was signing like as the owner of the listing documents and like all of that. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of just like gray areas that just weren't disclosed. And the agent was just like, oh man, thanks for the heads up. I had no idea.
Wow, this agent also needs some really education as well. I feel like as an agent, right, the first rule of thumb is you're representing your client. Do they even own the house? And that's something that you can check, like who owns the deed. How could the agent just not check the owner of the record? Just
And
represent
I looked the agent up and he does heavy deals like in Montgomery, PG, like he does a lot of deals. He has like over like 500 reviews on Google. So like I was very shocked that this lapse in his
That
process.
is a little bit insane. Wow. I'm gonna
It
give
just
you
it just tells you about agents.
right.
It just tells you about agents.
it's one example, though, of many. My guess, Brandon, would be about 20 to 25% drawbacks we hear back from them. And so one thing you just have to be careful about is you have to know that when you're willing to present 3 offers. From a sales psychology standpoint, you'd like to be the last one to sit with them or the first one. So just keep that in mind because sometimes that could be used against you. So
Yeah, I imagine because you're the first one and you become the comparator. Like, okay, can you beat that price I just got? Like, at least beat the offer. To
yeah,
set yourself apart, it's important.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So in terms of finding these deal, right? Like you have a person's team, it's not very large. Do you have any smart marketing technique that you can share with our client? And let's just say people don't have a lot of money to start, so for them to spend thousands of dollars to find those very expensive pay per click, it's very expensive. What's your advice on that?
Well, I'll tell you what we do first, and then we can kind of talk collectively if that's something that might be something that somebody that's new could handle. So we've tried every marketing strategy under the sun, from door knocking to mailers to PPC to which is pay per click,
Pay per click, yeah.
Google, Facebook ads. We've tried PPL, which is pay per lead. We've tried.
VA cold
Yeah,
callers, cold lists. We skip traced them.
we've had cold callers in everywhere from Egypt to the Philippines. So like we've tried a lot. What's worked most consistently and it's easiest to get results, we feel, is you leveraging PPL providers because it's so customizable. Like for example, if you only have $300 a week to spend, well, you can set yourself up for a $300 a week max budget, right? And you might only get 2 leads a week, but at least it's a starting place and it's a vetted lead. What's also good about PPL providers is if the property's listed or if it's trailer, if it's land, if it's just doesn't turn out to be someone that will even respond to you. If you try to call them for 3 consecutive days and you can prove that, you can get a refund as well. So another reason why it can be a good starting space, I think, for investors, you can set a budget. The conversion ratio for us has been the best. It's 1 in 8 to 1 in 10 is going to be a deal. It's really probably 1 in 4, but getting people to answer the phone is the hardest part, right? So
Right.
that all depends on how consistently you can get them to answer. So that's
Sure.
been our favorite and it's lasted and it's what we've had the best KPIs around. And I think it's still affordable. If you
Yeah, it's
want
not
to,
bad. She
yeah,
get $300 a week, and then you kind of just get. Do you get more like a preferred market? You just basically you're the first tier. They send it to you. You
yeah.
own the market.
So there's 2 ways to go. Well, there's really 3 ways to go about it, but 2 ways that I think most people go about it. You can go statewide is going to be the cheapest or the second cheapest. Nationwide is really cheap. You can get nationwide leads for like 30 to $40 a lead. It's not something that I don't think a brand new person's going to do anyways. So the 2 real options I think are statewide and then county specific.
County-wide, yeah,
Yeah.
county specific.
Yeah, and you're talking about statewide's going to be anywhere from $50 to $100 a lead, depending on the provider, typically. Whereas county specific's going to be 150 to 300, depending on how good that county is, how valuable the homes are, and how competitive that area is for deals.
And you have a hometown advantage, right? When you're doing like a local county, you already know the area. I bet you probably punch in the address. I know exactly what's to come for that area.
I mean, we know the ARV sometimes before we even have to look up the house.
Yeah.
Like we know exactly where it is, what kind of house it is, and that's just from we see the street name. We're like, oh yeah, I drive by there all the time. So it's like little things like that are definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
But this is where the 10x is better than 2x like kind of came in. Instead of doing statewide leads, like let's get dialed in and just do like county leads. They're more expensive, but we're very good at closing them. And that's the difference right there is that we probably have a legit 25% close rate for the ones who actually pick up. That might be out of 10 leads, but 1 out of 10, only 4 of those actually picked up and we closed 1 of them.
Right.
So that other like
pretty good.
68%, we never even had a chance to talk to them. So if all 10 were picking up, I bet we're going to be closing 3.
And I imagine you have a right phone number. If they don't pick up, sometimes you probably like leave a messages and then they might. Some people feel comfortable messaging people instead of picking up the phone.
Sure.
It's a great segue straight to our AI caller.
There you go. That's what I'm asking. So
Yeah.
I know you guys recently implemented some AI calling strategy for people who kind of flow into your funnel who already express interest of selling. I was very impressed recently went to the local meetup you guys or the featured speaker when you kind of demo your AI calling capability. I've seen a lot of different programs try to do that. Some of them just sound very robotic. The AI agent that you guys use pretty good.
Yeah. We started implementing AI in our business in the beginning of last year. We really wanted to try and get ahead of the curve, so to speak. It took some time to get to where we are today because we started working with the different tools and various offerings early. We've created a lot of our own automation tools and efficiency tools within our business. And that's also part of the reason we've been able to keep such a small team. We didn't really highlight that much earlier when we talked about our team, but since we're in AI, I wanted to mention that when it comes to our AI callers, what's really nice is there are tools out there now that are not just off the shelf and you white label them. There's tools that you can get that can be fully customizable. So they come, for example, with 50 different voices that you can test out and you can kind of adjust which voice you like better. You can do different background noises, whether you want typing in an office or do you want at a coffee shop? Do you want to be mildly aggressive, moderately, or even more aggressive? So there's tonalities and so there's very much becoming customizable. And I think that because Brandon and I invested early on, we bought the bad tools and we worked our way up to some of the better tools. And we spent money early on that I don't think most small companies would have spent, but it got us to where we are today, where we feel like we're a little bit ahead. And so we want to continue to stay ahead. And it's something that Brandon and I, we don't keep secrets. We love getting out and we have our own meetups. We speak at other meetups. We're go-givers and we like to share, but
I can vouch for that. I think you two are the most collaborative people I met in the DMV market. Genuinely want to JV, joint venture with other people, kind of create more opportunity because you realize with scarcity mindset, it's just not going to progress any further. It's better to make money together and then in return, people keep bringing you lead. They're super smart.
Absolutely. I mean, we love to see other people eat, and if there's a way that we can all work together and do a deal together, we love it. I mean, we gave away over 100,000 at our meetup last year, just giving out to people with, JV deals, our group flip that we did and furls and all that, over 100,000 easily. And we're going to be giving away more than that probably this year.
Seeing somebody that's new get a deal, guys, is actually makes me feel better to know that I might have had a small piece to play in them getting their own deal, not a deal that I'm in with them. It feels better to me than getting a 50,000 deal ourselves because we can do that. We've proven we can do that. I think you take it to the next level when you really impact your community. We love young entrepreneurs. We love old entrepreneurs if they're just getting started. Just to see people literally the grins on their face, like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know I could earn like this, but they keep showing up to the meetups. Having a place in your heart to help others, we could change the world, It could be another podcast, but I just think
The emotional income, what I usually talk, like it's not material income, but that sometimes bring you more joy just seeing how their eyes lit up.
it truly does. Another reason we're so excited to have this new office place and we're going to be able to do mastermind there and do sales trainings and calls. So we've got a lot on the works for the rest of this year.
We're going to be giving back a lot more than what we had the previous years. And it's going to be awesome. Like, I love it when we do something to where like, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me and Andy. It's just like another day. But then we get a text message out of the blue that's just like, thank you so much, guys. This really means a lot. Like, you don't understand how much this means to me. And it's going to get me through, the rest of this month. It's just like little things like that to where it's like, it doesn't seem like anything big to me and Andy just because we give so much, but yet we see the output that it's given to other people. And it just makes us want to keep doing it over and over and over again. And that's essentially how we built the business.
Right.
We just keep giving. And, it's just going to keep coming back, so that's just how we live.
Yeah, it's that act of willing to give and not expect return. That's what sets you apart. Because I think a lot of people trying to provide some value, but there's also like kind of sort of ulterior motives that, well, I give you something, you need to return something back. I expect you to do that. But you guys were not really expecting that. You just basically share your knowledge and profit with other people. So I can see why you guys are so successful running local meetup. It's been for how many years now?
2.5 years almost.
We love it and we're going to continue to do it. It does oftentimes too take me back to when I first started. We didn't have quite the resources even that people have today. Going back, age myself a little, 25 years. We didn't have YouTube then. We didn't have the online mentorship programs. You had to go to rub elbows at networking events that your uncle told you about. Things are easier, but we get a lot of excitement and we tell people just keep coming to the meetups, just keep coming, because people notice it. People that are running the meetup, other people that are attending the meetup. If you're still trying to get your first deal and you feel like you haven't made much traction, I'm telling you, there's no better way than just
Oh,
show
yeah.
up consistently to these meetups. People will notice. I notice it. Brandon notices it. In fact, we just gave somebody a wholesale opportunity that we had 3 or 4 people in line that wanted it bad that buy from us regularly. But this person had been showing up for like 7 straight months and they'd probably looked at 40 other wholesale opportunities and they couldn't align on any of them. And we just said they deserved a shot. We
I
connected
love it.
them with a lender that's a friend of ours, and we were able to help make it work. So hopefully that'll be another happy ending for them and it'll kickstart. People oftentimes just need that first opportunity. And if you can be just a small part of that, I think it'll resonate. And more so, what I want to see is not what we get out of it, but how many go-givers come behind us is where it can get really exciting. We could set a really good example in the area. Will that rub off on 30 other people that will then hopefully help more people?
Change the culture, but yeah,
Yeah.
create reputation. What people say, the reputation is what people say behind your back. That which is really important to do the right thing and genuinely care, and then for other person trying to work together, not asking anything for return. That's what set us apart from other hosted people.
We have every single day successes and we have every single day failures. I mean, it's literally a roller coaster every single day. Like this morning, like we started off like on a high, we're all doing good. And then like around 3 o'clock, like I get the news that I might be having to refinance like fall through. And it's just like crap. Like now I'm back to step one, trying to find a lender. And even in the middle of this podcast, like I feel like I think he reached out to me and I think we're going to be hopefully making the good connection and getting that ball rolling. Going back to what Andy said about giving this guy a chance who's been showing up consistently, at our meetup, we definitely had to go to bat and like kind of vouch for him with the hard money lender that we lined him up with and all of
Because he does not have experience,
does
right?
have
But
experience,
yeah,
his first deal, but it led to us doing something really freaking cool that is just going to be another way to get newbies their first deal is we're going to be partnering with this hard money lender and we created an entire different like legal document and it's called a step-in agreement. Now the step-in agreement is something to where a new person can use this hard money lender and if they start to fail or if they start to get behind on their work or if they get behind on payments that they can legally transfer the deed directly to us and we take over the project
without have to refinance and just
without
let.
having to do anything. It rolls
Interesting.
directly to us. We take over the project and then we obviously are then taking the time. We take over the monthly payments. So we're going to be getting the profits from those, but it gives these people a chance to get the experience that they need. And it's up to them whether or not that they fail or if they succeed. And obviously we want them to succeed, but we're there in case they don't. And it's more of a relief for the lender too, to invest in these
Right.
people who don't have the experience.
The closest thing I can think about that is when you're like signing a lease and you're like, well, I'm not 100% so on their income requirement. We'll ask for guarantor to sign the lease. It sounds like very
That's
similar.
essentially what it is, but it's a little bit different because we're not exactly guaranteeing the payments of the loan and all of that. We're just stepping in.
Yeah, and there's clauses in place for performance that are specific to what needs to happen. So it's not that we're going to come in and sweep out. We've got enough of our own active fix and flip. It
Right. You
would
don't
be
want to
more of
start
a
rescuing
hassle.
every project.
Yes, it would be more
Right.
of a hassle, quite frankly. But again, people that show up, they might have had a ding on their credit 5 years ago and they don't have the income to overcome that one credit challenge. And those people deserve a shot too if they're hard workers.
And realistically, if this were to happen, if it was someone who kept coming to our meetups and we know them and we have like a personal relationship with them,
Yeah.
we know who they are, we know they're a good person and like something's going on, we're not going to be like, all right, give it to us, we're going to take on over. Like we're going to try and figure out their problem, get them to the solution, maybe even like lend them some of our contractors to like get the deal done. And that way they can still be successful. And maybe they just needed that little tiny push compared to us just, saying, get out of the way, we're going to take over. Like, no, that's not what we want. Like, we want you to succeed. So if you're starting to get a little bit behind, let us know. So
Right.
Had this been a deal that somebody brought to us keep in mind too, we would have probably just JV'd with them. That's what we would typically do. And just to kind of differentiate, I want to make sure that the audience understands the
Right.
differentiator here is this was a deal that we generated on our wholesale side, and we already were marketing it as a wholesale deal. And once that decision was made, how we dispoed it kind of changed our appetite to be a JV partner. We had already considered that income on our financials. And so I just wanted to differentiate the two and
Right.
be very clear, if anybody is in the DMB market, we are open to JVs.
So JV is usually when you kind of partner up together and then you don't even know how much profit. You have an idea how much you're gonna make, but it's usually in a profit split model. But it sounds like for this one, you have a pretty juicy wholesale deal that you can sell it to anybody, but you decide to only sell it to this person who continue to show up at your meetups. Like, you know what, I like this person to succeed. So
Exactly.
give him a shot.
Yep.
Take this deal.
Exactly. And it was for the same fee that we had many other parties interested in as well.
See, that's a great thing that you point out. So that's another benefit of showing up consistently in the meetup because we talk about it all the time. We don't talk about it openly, but we have a short list of people. We were already eyeing them to like kind of work together. So
Yes.
these people are usually the first person who get a phone call say when there's any potential deal coming up. May not be under contract or very close to getting under contract, but
Mhm.
you kind of already pre-slotted that spot for this person. You know, I'm going to work with this person together. So they have a first look. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important to show up in person and meet up. And I'm so excited and so happy to know that you're still running a very successful meetup consistently every month for people to come to your meetup. So we're going to have you kind of talk about your meetup, just where you've run this meetup, what the structure look like. So people are interested, they can kind of reach out to you and go to your meetup in person.
Second Wednesday, 5:30, Antietam Brewery. We're there. We usually have the big patio. If it's cold, we're in like a nice private room in the back, but we have a good time. It's a different type of meetup. We're more networking,
Yeah, intimate.
sitting, like we
Small
want people
group.
to mesh. We don't want someone to be sitting and watching a PowerPoint or like watching someone write on a whiteboard. We want very much interaction and people to actually do deals together.
Right.
And that's exactly what we started it and with the intentions. And
Mhm.
that's how it's been, almost 2.5 years later.
Still going strong.
I just want to highlight again the importance of getting out to your local meetups. If this one's not nearby, there's so many resources online. There's so many Facebook groups out there.
Right.
If you're not already joined the local real estate investor Facebook groups, make sure to join there. You're going to get all sorts of posts about upcoming meetups. There's calendars out there. Just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. People like ourselves will be glad to help answer them and help guide you to a meetup that's near you.
Thank you so much for coming up and share your wholesale operation and share how you able to genuinely connect with so many people and set you guys apart. I think there's a lot of lesson learned there.
It's been such a pleasure getting to know you over the years. We value our friendship with you. You've done big things yourself, things to be proud of, and just such a pleasure for you to have us on your show. We've enjoyed it. I've watched many episodes, and we feel blessed that you brought us on today.
Oh, I'm so glad to say that. But I definitely have you guys come back. Talk to you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would love to come back. And to one last thing I like to say, Shinny, is that like we want to do a JV deal with you so that the next time we are on this podcast, we have something that we can really dive into and
Oh,
talk about.
you can count on that. It's gonna happen. I know it.
Yes.